Well, with the Islanders season over, it sets the stage for a very interesting postseason to come, where we are going to be looking at taking a different approach here, I feel is the best way to put it. Just given makeup of the team and, different options that we have, so on, so forth. We'll see what happens. The AHL team, by the way, is up 3-2 on Portland. After winning 3 in a row, they're going to Game 7 against the Pirates. And both of our teams that were absolutely stacked in comparison to other teams, the makeup and just the standard of their leagues. Both teams are out in the first round. How can we bring back the 2K series? Just be a little bit more patient. The Hartford Wolfpack win the Calder Cup. The Ottawa Senators have won the Stanley Cup. Pavel Bure and the Ottawa Senators, as they beat Anaheim. Of course they did. Of fucking course they did. They beat Anaheim in the Stanley Cup final. This run has been insane. Revenge for the Sens. Florida made it all the way to the Eastern Conference final. They also knocked off New Jersey. So there you go. Senators get it done. Led by Bure, Castles, Pierre Turgeon, Kip Miller, Marian Hossa, Daniel Alfredson, Mike Fisher, Patrick Lalime, and Garth Snow in goal. So Anaheim's back-to-back championship run comes to a close. They could not secure the three-peat. Ottawa also won the President's Trophy this year. Yashin won the Art Ross. Didn't matter. He also won the Hart Trophy. Didn't matter in the final. Brian Berard wins the Norris. Solani wins the Bing. The Calder to Tampa's Thomas Vanek. Conn Smythe to Pavel Bure. Luongo wins the Vezina and is potentially going to be traded. Tommy Salo won the Jennings. The next big award, LA's coach wins Jack Adams. Datsuk wins his first Selke. Ted Lindsay to Alexei Yashin. Rocket Richard to Teemu Solani. In the AHL, Peter Bondra, how the mighty have fallen, led the league in scoring. He was also league MVP, scored the most goals. Nathan Horton was the top rookie. Teppo Newman, top defenseman. Mike Vernon, top goaltender. And MVP of the playoffs, Shashlevy. Cool. Winning the Vezina only to be traded. Well, the biggest thing right now is expiring contracts and trying to work out, potential sign and trades. I'm not worried about Hobby Bullen because his trade value is going to be low. Paul Mara, honestly, his value is probably going to be too low to worry about whatever. We can just lose him. It's fine. The big one is Patrick Marleau. So we need to work out a deal with him right now and then probably move him. I'm not afraid to lose Ryan Malone for nothing either, to be honest. He's a power forward in the bottom six. I mean, he is very physical, but I don't think he's going to really fit how we want to shape up the team next season. Let's see, waiting to hear from Marleau. Marleau is back, but again, I am not guaranteeing that I'm keeping him. Detroit wins the lottery. Vancouver moves up from 6-2. First overall pick for the Red Wings. Again, how I wish this was NBA eras where the real players just kept on showing up, but we're not there yet. Christ, Mark Messier still hasn't retired. Cliff Ronning, Ron Francis and company are gone, but I still don't think Mark Messier is retired. Joe Juno's gone, Tim Taylor. Mark Messier still kicking. Al McInnes does retire at 41. Scott Stevens as well. Brett Hedikin's gone. And in goal, Mike Richter. Herbe, Sean Burke, and others. Right. To the draft we go. This should be an interesting one for us. First and foremost, in goal, Roberto Luongo. He's been inconsistent in the playoffs. He's been inconsistent in the regular season. We have Marc-Andre Fleury coming up. It's Flower or Luongo, unless we wanted to, again, keep Luongo as the backup and fuck it. Are there any good offers out there for Luongo? No, we're going to have to find something manually. Same for Ole Kolzig if we can get someone to take that contract. So, let's see what's out there. Let's see. Are there any teams interested in Luongo? The answer appears to be yes. I need good options to trade for. Kyle McLaren as a DFD wouldn't be the worst.
For those about to score, I salute.
Shout out to Link, by the way. 16 months on the primer. Appreciate it, Link. How are you? Not afraid to trade for someone who's already good. Prospects would be better. Right now, Kyle McLaren is the best player that we could trade for, which is a little bit concerning. Dvorak, John Leclerc. I mean, Radek Dvorak would actually be pretty good for how we might want to build this team next season. Of course, it's 2 Eastern Conference teams, which doesn't help. Pavel Kabina on Tampa.
Oh, we're doing this again.
Could also be decent. Shout out to BK, by the way. 6 months. Thank you both there for the resub. I appreciate it. Welcome back and welcome to my misery. Do the Bruins have picks they're willing to trade? No, they don't. So Kyle McLaren's not going to happen. Let's go back to Philadelphia. They don't have too many picks that they're willing to trade. And then it was Tampa for Kabina. Fuck. Well, time to go down in history is trading Roberto Luongo for Radek Dvorak. But that is probably what's about to happen. We're going to let Detroit make this #1 pick. If they get medium elite Boucher. Georges Boucher. Henrik Dansk. Vancouver, let's talk. It'd be very valuable. I don't know if I want to keep Marlowe or not. In terms of the power forwards, it would make sense to keep Marlowe and Nash. I think there might be a chance that we keep Marlowe. Philly, let's talk. Let's talk. This is not the ideal situation for me. Andreas Janssen, Radek Dvorak, Vince Indeed. There are no more generated players at this, or it's all generated players at this stage. There's no way we're getting that first round pick, by the way. It's not going to happen. Roberto Luongo to Philly for Radek Dvorak, Andreas Janssen, 2/3 and a 1/4. That is the best deal we can get for Luongo right now. Dvorak would be an awesome addition for that third line, though. Janssen wouldn't be bad either. I'm going to hold on to Luongo for the moment. He survives only because I cannot justify trading him for Radek Dvorak. Bada we don't have to worry about. He's an RFA. Klesla we don't have to worry about. It doesn't look like anybody that I have to worry about flipping has to be done right now. And so it's not going to be. Our first pick is pick number 158 in the 6th round. It's not going to be a big draft for us, which is fine. We're looking more ahead towards free agency where we're going to try to do our damage. Let's look at Vince Fast from the Flint Firebirds. 06, nothing amazing. And pick number 171 in the early stages of the 3rd round, goaltender Nathan Brindamore. It's a low starter, so neither of those picks are amazing. We have another 7th round pick. Let's go for Timothy Cavanaugh. Nothing special. Yeah, I mean, 6th and 7th round. We don't really expect to find anything. We'll go for Michel Valaquette. Low bottom 6 grinder. Yikes. So, a very nothing draft for us, but that's what happens when we go all in, right? The big moments, well, that's going to be what happens next. Well, I guess the re-sign phase is technically next, and that's not done yet, but give it a moment. So in goal, we're letting go of Hobby Bullen. We'll let go of Mr. Stania, even though I love him. Marc-Andre Fleury will be signed to his ELC. Defensively, Paul Mara is honestly not that bad. But he's also not an elite skater. So for that reason, we're going to let go of him. We can hold on to Barrett Jackman. We can hold on to Klesla. Curtis Foster. Got to sign Brent Seabrook and Kyle Quincy to their ELCs. Curtis Lesishin can go. From there, we're looking okay. Right wing side. Rabada gets qualified. Kolnick can stay. We're going to let go of Chris Neal. Shockingly, he never made it. He capped out as an AHLer. Colby Armstrong can stay. Shishkinov can go for the moment. Left wing side, obviously Nash, Heatley will be qualified. I'm going to let go of Ryan Malone. Rene Bort can stay. Spezza, obviously kicking around. Andy Hilbert, for the moment, can go. So can Chris Kelly. Marcel Gotch will stay. Chris Kalanos can go for the moment. Riku Hall. Joel Lundqvist. I mean, he was a nepotism draft pick anyway. So Quincy, Fleury, Seabrook have signed. Cool. We obviously have the RFAs to worry about, but that is in our next part of the plan. We'll have some dudes that accepted the qualifying offer, which is good, but not a like a must-handle situation right now. So free agency could change up some of our plans. Let's see who's out there. Odds are it will not. Radek Bonk, Dmitry Kristich, among others. In goal, Turek, Belfour, nobody too crazy. Prospect-wise, there's a medium elite named Voinov, but he's 23. These two starters who are 23 that are a little bit better, Tarnstrom and Kapitanov. And then for the fringes, there's a lot of fringe goalies. Is that Jeff Delorier? It is Jeff Delorier. Okay. A couple of goalie prospects here and there that we could sign. Nobody too crazy. Defensively, nobody too crazy. In terms of prospects, Paul Mara is actually the best defenseman that's out there. That's not great. And then at forward, obviously, more big names are out there. More options. In terms of crazy prospects, not really. I mean, Hunter is one of the best ones. So we're taking a new approach in terms of how we're building the team. And a big shout out to Highland Wolf for the 3 months. Highland, how are you? I hope you have been well. You were just in time to see us take this new approach in terms of building the team. We are going to go with the very EA-friendly approach. Why not? We are going to have a skill line, and then 2 defensive/grit lines. Our defense will be OFD, DFD, OFD, DFD, two-way and two-way. Perfectly balanced, as all things should be. And if that doesn't work, kill me. First and foremost, Roberto Luongo still has to go. I'm hoping there's a better market for him now. Ah, dicks. Don't forget you need a low overall goalie. Marc-Andre, he's my man. All right. So again, the hope is that we can find a landing spot for Lou. I'd love to get rid of Kolzig as the backup too, just because, I mean, not that we have to clear out cap space, but just, you disappointed me. So, Kyle McLaren's still out there from Boston. Corey Stillman, Joe Sakic, Mikhail Renberg. I mean, they're all 32 and up. McLaren was sub 30. Dvorak is still out there, man. He's still probably my best option. You got Mike Ricci, Alex Kovalev, Rob Lang. Kovalev's a power forward. He doesn't really fit what we need. Rob Lang's a power forward as well. Fuck. Pavel Kabina is still out there. Kabina would be a good fit. I do agree with that take. Problem is, Tampa, they're a difficult team to trade with right now, just based off of what they're willing to give up. Boston's in a pretty similar spot. Dvorak's my best option. Not that I want to trade Roberto Luongo for Radek Dvorak, but he is my best option. Just in terms of sheer value. Stock it up with picks. See how close it is. Take out a third. It looks like it'll be Roberto Luongo and Ole Kolzig to Philadelphia for Radek Dvorak, a second and a third. There it is. Luongo is out. So our starting goaltender this season is going to be Marc-Andre Fleury. His backup, I have no idea. And we'll see if it's worth holding on to Eriksson and Postma. I do not know if it is. To be honest, I got to compare them to other people that are out there, right? On the free agent list. So let's go do that. See if there are any prospects who are better. So in goal, again, we can't worry about RFAs. So Roman Turek could be there. He might be a little bit too good. In terms of backups, I mean, there's a lot of different options. Let me look at prospects first. Honestly, Tarnstrom. Jesper Tarnstrom. Could go for him. Could go for Kapitanov. I mean, those guys would both be pretty good. So what if we factor in Tarnstrom as the backup, Kapitanov as the AHL starter, And that would leave me with one more. So let's send Tarnstrom an offer. I'm allowed to go about 500K over asking price. So we'll send in offers for those two. And then I would need an AHL or an NHL depth option. You just got rid of Lou. You need Alex All. Fair. I mean, there's a medium fringe goalies. Otherwise, it would be Jeff Delorier. You know, for the meme, why not? We can go for Alex Ald. I mean, he's the type of player I could use right now anyway. So, we'll see if that works. Let's go take a look at our defense. That's a big one for us right now, is how we want to construct this defense. So we got Zdeno Chara as a two-way, which is good. Boris Mironov is a two-way. Campbell's a two-way as well. As is Eric Brewer. I'd rather keep Campbell than Mironov because of the age. So, that does mean other people are about to be moved. So, Boris Mironov is out. Eric Brewer is out. Kevin Bieksa, gotta be honest, there's really no room for Bieksa right now. He is out. Klesla is safe. Barrett Jackman, at least for the moment, is safe. Curtis Foster should probably go. At his age, he should be in the NHL. Curtis Foster's out. Jonathan Girard can be the depth option. That's fine. Keith Ballard can still develop in the AHL. We don't have to immediately... Well, then again, he might get better. Minor league top two, he could easily be a depth defenseman, but at 21, I think we can leave Keith Ballard in the AHL next season just to develop him, try to get his value up. Koliakovo is a two-way depth defenseman. Given that he's already a depth defenseman, I'm going to move Carlo out. Grachasek is a DFD. So medium top six. Jackman's a high six. Grachasek can go. Like I said, we knew we'd have to make a lot of changes. That is indeed what we are going to do. Brent Seabrook will be in the AHL, as will Kyle Quincy, Braden Coburn. We'll probably end up signing Raphael Mayer and Rory McCann. So we'll need two depth AHL defensemen. I need two offensive defensemen, though, to lead the way. I want to see what's on the free agent list because I don't think there's any out on the market right now. So, do we have any notable offensive defensemen? DFD, I mean, Jason Smith's not much of an upgrade. Oh, man, there is just no such thing as an offensive defenseman, apparently. No such thing as an OFD until we get down to Darren Quint. And he has quite the market for him because he's an offensive defenseman. Yikes. Zach Attack, what's going on? How are you? Forcer and Eric Cairns. So outside of Darren Quint, the next OFD, this is insane. Holy shit, how far down do we gotta go? What? Corey Murphy, who's a 76. Well, I'm going to sign him for the moment. Because what other choice do I have? And then I'll try to see if I can find improvements on Quint and Murphy for those particular player types here, which is ridiculous. Oh, we'll be trading Mironov. The problem is, like I said, I needed to see who was actually out there first. We'll just call it good at 3.4. And we'll see if Darren Quint, one of the most sought-after people on the market, is available for us. So in terms of players that are out there, I need 2 NHL caliber defensemen. The Bruins are willing to trade Kyle McLaren, who is a DFD. He would be an upgrade on Jackman. So for that reason, I'm going to look. But what about Matthias Nordstrom? DFD as well. I'd rather keep Klesla. But if I can trade Barrett Jackman for Kyle McLaren, I feel like that's a good little upgrade. That is a good little upgrade, yeah. So we'll see if we can make this work to bring in Kyle McLaren. Obviously, I have some other people I can move on from, including Kevin Bieksa, just because he doesn't fit the team. He just doesn't. Like, he'd have to fit on the top pair with Chara, which would be very funny. But we're keeping Brian Campbell in that role. So here's a deal I will probably regret. Jackman and Bieksa for McLaren in a third. The third's apparently a little bit too much. What about a fourth and a fifth? What about just a fourth? Jesus Christ, really? Trying to rob me blind right now is what they're doing. But again, this is us trying to play the game. They want us to have a balanced lineup. By God, we'll have a balanced lineup. We will listen to Rammstein sing about what Rammstein sings about. Jackman and Bieksa for McLaren and a sixth. Jesus Christ. I'm going to have to give up more than I thought. What about a fifth? There we go. Kyle McLaren, welcome to the island. They sing about ducks and balls of fire. Yeah, that's a way to put it. Is there a better OFD available than fucking Murphy? There's got to be somebody willing to give up an offensive defenseman, right? Greg DeVries is not an offensive defenseman, but I had to look. Bassist, what's going on? Oh, that was good. No complaints. I hope you can say the same. I hope you are doing well. Give me a goddamn defenseman. Pavel Kabin is a two-way, so I mean, it's him or Brian Campbell. There's just no such thing as an OFD out there right now, so at least not one that somebody wants to trade. So that's a little bit tough. We'll figure more things out in a second. Let's look at our forwards. Let's look at our forwards. So we have Jason Spezza, playmaker, obviously, which is perfectly fine. Obviously run him at center as a first liner. You got Tim Connolly, who would be the second line playmaker. Rick Nash, who would be the top line power forward. Patrick Marleau, who could be the second line power forward. Nash would take the top spot for development. Marleau's 25. Zetterberg is competing directly with Connolly and Spezza. Given that Spezza is still just 22, it is Zetterberg or Connolly on that second line. One of them's going. Andy McDonald as a playmaker is also in that same conversation. I think sniper, playmaker, power forward is better than two-way. Based on how we're going to try to set up the team, yes. And typically based off of how chemistry works in the game. Danny Heatley, it's showing him with a Sharks logo, which is funny. He's an RFA. Could obviously be in consideration for top line sniper. Radek Dvorak. We have penciled in on the third line. Radim Verbata. We also have penciled in on the third line. He and Dvorak could be incredible together. It might... Oh, actually, he's 24. It won't mess with his value too much. Louis. Louis is going to be a bit of a problem for us if he develops. Or we could just already pencil in Louis Eriksson for second line sniper role, which I don't hate. I don't hate it. JP Dumont is right in that conversation with Louis Eriksson. Mike Richards will be in the AHL unless he gets some kind of crazy development. Stillman, same thing, if we end up signing him. And then from there, it's all the AHLers from the looks of it. Rene Bourque is a power forward. We're going to be trading him. He's just not going to fit this team at all. Brooks Like, listed as a fourth liner already. He'll probably fill in that spot. We know the big names that are going. Brett Hull is probably another name that's on the out. But we do know the big names that are going here. At least we have a general idea. So in terms of free agents, we pretty much know that the top six is loaded up. There's really no room for anybody. We could bring in Dmitry Kristich to replace Dumont. In terms of snipers, it's Kristich or Barteko. So basically, it's Kristich, Dumont, or Eriksson as the second line designated sniper. And Dmitry Kristich, the problem is he's 35 years old. We can't bank on that. So it's Dumont or Eriksson, and we can wait to see how Louis Eriksson develops because there's no rush to trade him. But we pretty much have our top playmaker. We pretty much have our top sniper. I need another top two-way. It could be Brooks Like. However, and it would be kind of ridiculous to play him on the third line, but Radek Bonk with Radek Dvorak and Radim Verbata on the third line would be fucking insane. I have to throw my name into the hat for Radek Bonk. We will go up to $10.3 million to compete with the New York Rangers. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. From there, that'd be a rad line. I see what you did there. I want grinders. I want grinders and tough guys for that fourth line. Darren McCarty. I would love for you to come be a face puncher for my team. Keith Jones. Flyers legend. I'd love for you to be on our fourth line. And then there's Travis Green. Is that Bill Lindsay? I'm going to hold off there because I feel like a lot of these guys are still going to be available, and I want to see if certain people are going to develop. But those are our current targets. Should have looked at coaches. Keith Jones is accepted. Darren Quint, Darren McCarty, Corey Murphy, Alex Auld, Jesper Tarnstrom, Kirill Kapitanov. Jason Spezza gets a qualifying offer that we are obviously going to match. Radek Bonk has signed. Huge news for us. We'll worry about the coaching afterwards. Fuck it. Klesla gets an offer sheet. We'll match that. Rene Bourque took the qualifying offer, which is whatever. So did Marcel Gotch. Rick Nash gets an offer sheet by the Hawks. We're not going to let them take Rick Nash away. Heatley took the qualifying offer. Pavel Kubina was finally traded. He got dealt to Pittsburgh in a deal involving Rob Lang. But I'm feeling okay about where we are right now. It's just now I got to wait to see what players develop, which ones don't, to see who is in fact going to make this team. But we are going to take an entirely different approach to the construction of this roster after we fell short last season. We are going to sign all 3 of these low elites to get them in the AHL. Not worried about the other guys because they're all pretty bad, aka our most recent draft. So one more time, back to the trade screen, knowing that we got some deals to make here. And actually, we can go to Trade Finder as well. It might save us a little bit of time. It'll get us our first look at our new starter, Marc-Andre Fleury, who's going to debut at an 86 overall. You have both Tarnstrom and Kapitanov as backups. So that's a little bit tough. We'll go with Tarnstrom. So Fleury, Tarnstrom, and Alex Auld. AHL is going to be Kapitanov with Eriksson and Postma. Can I trade Brindamore for anything? That's why I should have been on the other screen. Let's just see if we can get rid of Brindamore and those prospects for whatever. And then Eriksson and Postma can stay. So let's try to recoup some draft picks here. Be Fast, Kavanaugh, and Valakets. Trading for Anaheim draft picks probably isn't the smartest. Can we get that 3rd rounder from Montreal? What about 2 3rd rounders? Just a 3rd? We'll take that. All right, so we got rid of our junk. We send it to Anaheim for a 3rd round pick. That means in goal, Fleury, Tarnstrom, Auld, Kapitanov, Eriksson, Postma. We're good. Defensively, what a song. Don't want it at the moment. Defensively, we have Zdeno Chara. Mironov still has to go. Campbell's with Chara. Kyle McLaren. Of course, Brewer's got to go. Klesla stays. Curtis Foster was already on my list of people to get rid of. Darren Quint stays as an OFD. Krachasek could actually spend one more season in the AHL. Although he's never going to make the team. We might as well just deal him now. Gerard is fine. Keith Ballard. I had him as a keep to further develop. But at this stage, we might as well just move him for whatever value we can get for him instead of keeping him, because we don't think he'll ever be a huge name for us. Same as Kolyakovo. Seabrook is a medium 4. I'm willing to keep around. Then Murphy's on the NHL roster. You know what? We might as well keep Keith Ballard now that I think about it. Instead of just having to sign random ass people. Because we know the draft pick values are fucking weird. Yeah, maybe not. I say that because we'd probably look at moving Kyle Quincy as well. Coburn as a DFD. Probably go to. I think the low elites can stay, though. I feel like that's not a bad idea because we can try to train those 2 up as best we can. So we have a lot of defensemen to move. I still need to find a better offensive defenseman. If I'm not mistaken, I can use the player search to search by player types. I mean, I don't use this feature as much as I should. And there we go. Defense, player type, OFD. Who do we got? Brian Berard is the best of the bunch. No surprise. If it's not him, then it's an old Brian Leach. Also, Dan Boyle, who we probably should have traded for before. We got to find a way to trade for Brian Berard. It might be expensive, but we do have Boris Mironov to utilize here. Of course, Berard just won the Norris. I'm going to have to overpay to make this happen, but we should have the value to do it because we also know that Andy McDonald is out. There's no way we keep him over Zetterberg or over Connolly. So we can move Andy McDonald in this trade as well. Looks like we just had to take back somebody random, which is fine. Of course, they have fucking Patrice Bergeron. Defensively, I just need a random dude. Tyson Strachan, he'd be perfect. Why not? So Mironov and McDonald pairing together to get the best offensive defenseman in the league in the form of Brian Berard. A second and Tyson Strachan. Didn't happen. What about a third? Third next year. What about just straight up? Sweeten it just a touch. We can do that. Mironov, McDonald, and a sixth for Brian Berard and Tyson Strachan. So we can take Murphy out, count him as an AHLer, and add Brian Berard to play on the second pair with Kyle McLaren. We'll take that. Frankie, how are you, buddy? I hope you are well. It is good to see you. I am doing as well as I can, given the fact this team is still trying to kill me. I think Darren Quint might be good enough. We could still go after Dan Boyle or Brian Leach. And since they're the same value, it would make sense to go after Dan Boyle. Can we get a deal done with Atlanta? Is there anybody here that they want? JP Dumont. That depends on Louis Erickson's status. What is Louis looking like right now? Depth forward Louis. Louis Erickson's made the NHL. JP Dumont. Buddy, you had some good years here. But those years are over. JP is on the way out. And to be honest, we're going to pair him with the man who he played really, really well with in the past. Well, actually, we might be able to use Tim Connolly for something else. Do I have anybody else I can use in this deal? Seabrook, Richards. Brewer's not really worth much. It's going to be Connolly and Dumont heading to Atlanta as we look to bring in Dan Boyle and whoever else we can get. Looks like it'll be draft picks. Boyle in a first for Dumont and Connolly would go through. What about the extra second? Would still go through. Wow, thank God that didn't immediately go through. Dumont, Connolly for Boyle, a first and 2 seconds. Now that's a bit too much. It's still going to be a good deal for us, though. JP Dumont and Tim Connolly. We say goodbye for Dan Boyle, a first, second, and third from the Atlanta Thrashers. The fallout of a disastrous end to our last season, but it had to happen. We have completely reworked our defense now. Chara, Berard, Campbell, McLaren, Boyle. Brewer still has to go. It's Klesla that's going to be staying. And actually, we can use the trade finder here on a couple of the other dudes. We knew there'd be a lot of moves to make. I don't know if I knew it would be this many. So Eric Brewer. What can I get for you? 2/5 apparently. Drew Miller. Yuri Hudler. I don't know how good he is at this point. High 9. Seems like it'd make more sense to take Yuri Hudler than take a 4th and a 5th. Anybody that wants to compete with Yuri Hudler? Seems like too good of a deal to turn down. Chris Draper, Ray Shepard. I mean, Ray Shepard murdered us in the playoffs, so did Chris Simon, for that matter. He'd fit in pretty well on a 4th line. But based on potential, Lee Stempniak. Lee Stempniak. We'll go with Yuri Hudler because Western Conference team. So Eric Brewer is out. We are also going to move on from Keith Ballard for whatever we can get for him. Which apparently is not much. See if Toronto's in the conversation here. They are. We'll trade Keith Ballard for Lee Stempniak. Relatively easy one for us. Let's go best Lions. We still got other defensemen to move out here. Braden Coburn, who is pretty much not going to make this team anytime soon. Big shout to West Coast. Mr. West Coast, how are you, my man? It's been too long. Hope the old holiday season treated you well. Good to see you streaming as well. Did you go to the game today? I gotta know. Did you go to the game? Looks like it'll be a fourth in Luke Richardson. It's the best we can get for this guy. So, 4th round pick for Braden Coburn. We'll do it. Do what we got to do. Might as well move these guys out. They're just not going to make the team. So, screw it. Get what we can for them now. I had no desire to sit in the front row and not be able to see. That is fair. That is fair. Last year's Winter Classic was at Fenway Park, and I did not go. I know people who did. And it's always, it's about the experience. Yes, the experience of sitting outside in the cold for 3 hours, not being able to see a goddamn thing for $800 or more. No, thank you. No, thank you. All right, so we have a lot of these little moves to make. I think what we'll do now at this point is because eventually, obviously, this will end up on the YouTube side of things. Congrats to Twitch. You're going to get to see all the work that's done and people who watch on YouTube in 3 months. They're the ones that are going to get shafted by not being able to see all of it. They're going to have to just see the end result.